In this video, I'm going to show you how to remove the mowing deck on a John Deere x300. It's got the bag attachment and the mowing deck connected right now. Then I'm going to show you how to connect the 44-inch snow blower attachment. We got a rusted out bearing there that I didn't notice earlier. And here are the other attachment parts. The handle, the crank handle that springs for underneath to activate the snow thrower. Here's the chute, and you just need these levers over here to lift the attachment up in the air when you're going over bumps or whatever, or to drive it on normal terrain. So there's the attachment, and there is the mower, the beginning product right there. So what you want to do is turn this down the deck height. You have to step on the pedal and then turn this all the way down to the bottom and then release it. It drops right down to the ground. A quick bolt down here on the back. It's just pretty much a quick release pin. Whoops, I don't think you saw that, but that comes right out like that. Quick release pin here. Nothing to it. It just pulls out. So with the deck right on the ground, there's a release lever. You pull this back, and it'll allow you to loosen that belt right there at the other side. So you just use that release lever that I just showed you here, pull it out towards you, and it'll loosen it where you can just drop that belt right off the drive shaft. And then you've got these pins here. Look how simple this is. You just pull that out, turn it, and then this will go up. When I slide it out that way, there's two of them. And the other side, just pull that out. There you go. Loosen that up. This will come out, and then I'll be able to pull the deck towards me. I just have to release this part here in the front. And that just comes off by pulling these pins out right here, and this will push out that way. You see that just drops right off. Came right out. I always put these back on so I don't lose them. So I just push the bracket up like this so you can clear the rest, and this will pull. The whole thing will come right out. You gotta clear everything over here. Not easy to do with one hand. So I'm gonna pause. And that just pulls right out of there. The whole thing. There's your mowing deck. What I like to do is to zip tie the belt so you don't go flying off and you have to figure out what pulley goes around and all that crazy stuff. So I'll just leave it like that, and then we don't have to worry about it. So the first thing I do is I hook this spring up, and it gives you a gauge so you know how much to tighten it, so you can raise the attachment up. It gives you leverage, basically. So this basically, where is that? Oh, it's over there. See that bracket right there? The back of this spring goes around that, like this. Just like that. You gotta go down with it. Around, boom. The spring goes over here. The bolt goes, this bolt, which is the other side of that, when it was connected, goes through the front. There's a hole in the front. Some of these frames are a little different. It's just going straight back. just basically connect this to that. So now you've got that lined up. Your bolt's right here. 13 millimeter wrench or socket. Just tighten it from the front. That's it. That's all there is to it. Just keep going around. So you just want to keep turning the bolt in the front until the straight part lines up with that line that says mower, blower. And you get that sticker when you first connect that inside. The nut on the front of that spring is lined up with the that line there. When I take this attachment apart, I always leave the things connected the way that I put it back the way it's supposed to be reconnected, so I don't have to fool around every year. So you can see that this bolt right here lines up here, and this other one here will be this. So you got to take this. You have to take. Can't see my finger. You got to take this bolt out. The other one will line up here, and then the main piece will go down the middle and connect to the other side, and that'll connect to your pedal, which will give you the leverage to lift this thing up and down. Here's what it actually looks like when you take all the pieces out. And these are greaseless, these are bearings, so that can rotate on this shaft here. So I'm gonna just take that bolt out. So the arm goes, the rocker bolt goes through here, and it goes through the other side. Basically, there's a hole on the other side. Let me stop that. So the rocker bolt goes through here, and it goes through the other side. There's a hole on the other side, basically. And what you got to do is you got to face this. The tab's got to be pointing up, so you have to kind of get it in there. Kind of an interesting way to put it in. So this has to be facing up. There's your bolt. The bolt goes through a hole on the other side first. I don't know if you can't see the other hole on the other side, but that's okay. And then it goes up like this. But before you do that, I found kind of an interesting way to save a little time. The top piece of this rocker arm, this here, goes straight up like I said, but the top part gets a piece connected to it. So you have to connect this, the end of this bolt, a long bolt, a threaded bolt, and it goes through like so. I don't know if you can see that. But it connects here to here to the top of this bolt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect this first, this piece to that, well, before I fasten it, and I'll show you how I'll do that. So what I'm doing is I'm leaving the bolt free, and it's not connected over here yet. It's gonna have to connect to this piece here. It's still not lined up yet. It's still loose. The shaft's not all the way through. I don't know if it's over here. It's hard to see. And then, so that goes through like that. This side, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. Okay, so that goes like this. This I left loose. And it makes it a whole lot easier. And then I'm just gonna put a cotter pin right through that point there, and we're good to go. Now you've got this part connected, and it's facing up. I don't know if you can see that. Yep. And now you just gotta connect this to there. Put the pin through. Where's my finger? Jeez. Let way down here. So you just got to connect these two. That'll be connected, and then I'll show you the rest. This part's pretty easy to do. This just goes over this, and then up. I don't know if you saw that, but that goes over like that, and then a pin, another pin goes through there. So that side's nice and secure. You got the shaft going through. It's pointing up. The hole's pointing up, and so now you've got this bracket, and it's shaped right to clear this bracket, and there's a bearing inside. You see this bearing goes right inside there. Slides right over that, like so. Goes right on like that. A little tricky doing this with the camera, but that goes on. So the reason you want that up is because this is going to control lifting that up and down. So then this piece goes on next, and it goes right over that. Whoop, like so. I think my camera's messed up. That goes right over the shaft, and then this other piece goes right over it. So that's what you end up with. There's a bracket over a bracket, and then there's a couple pins that go through there, and cotter pins. One of your bolts should be a little longer, so that goes on the right side. I know that looks a little funky. It's just that I ran out of cotter pins. Now you got all your bolts in. You want to make sure, another thing you want to make sure is that you leave this nut on this end so that you can spin the shaft later. See how it'll adjust, and then you can lock it with this. Later I'm going to lock that, I'm going to adjust it. And one last thing, if you can't get this arm in, this rocker arm, and it won't fit through here, turn the wheel on the steering wheel, and it'll change the dimension here, and you'll be able to fit it in there. And the next piece of the puzzle is going to be this bracket that goes on the front, and it just locks right in. These are quick release locks, and it's pretty easy to, well, actually you gotta put this bolt through first right here. This will go through. It's pretty easy to connect everything. Everything's quick, right? You know, very easy. You click on, snap this on, snap that on. That goes through there. You just line that up on the inside, and then put the bolt through. See, in order to get the bolt through, you got to turn the tire, and then I'm just going to lock this back through. Actually switch that around. It seems to fit a little better going from here, the bolt going through to the other side. Get a little more clearance. I'm not sure why, but the pin will go right in, and I'll push it down one more. Actually, that looks pretty good. So that's how that goes. And the bracket on the front sits like that. And now I just got to connect this to this with this longer bar here, and it's pretty straightforward. I like the pins pointing out, so I can just change the cotter pin. I leave the holes. I can't turn that, but you can't really see it. But the holes going through here. Same here. It's pointing towards me, so it makes it a little easier. I leave this here. This is just a bolt, and this will adjust. It'll rotate. I think I just cut my finger. And you can adjust that later and make it higher or lower, or make it tighter so it'll go up a little bit higher. The attachment. I know these cotter pins are a little whacked out, but everything's now connected, and you just got to put the attachment on at this point. I have to remove one of these because it's seized. and that's a bearing basically. They should spin freely, and then the belt goes around and it connects to the crankshaft. But this one's seized from the snow and the water. I'm gonna pull that off. So when you're doing this, you want to keep an eye on the position of the brackets. This one needs to be facing this one this way, because it'll really burn the bracket if you don't do it correctly. I mean, it'll burn the belt. So I'm just taking the whole bearing out, and I'm just going to get another one. I'm going to leave it like that when I connect it, so I don't have to, because I have to put the bolt back up through. You just got to line the attachment up with that, put the belt through. It's really that easy. It just clicks right on there. This goes right into there, and then you turn this pin. You release the pin, but you gotta kind of move it a little bit and until it snaps in, and you'll know because the pin will go right through. But I'm just connecting it temporarily because I don't know if I can get the bolt through there. You know, I might have to disconnect it again. So if you're careful about it and you do it correctly, you just leave this whole bracket connected, and it goes through like this somewhere, right there. I gotta take that bolt out. I lost one of them. And then everything's already connected. You don't have to reconnect this whole spiel again. But see what happens when you open the hood. You're not gonna be able to put this on. Well, you might, but not very easily. And you'll be goofing around with it. So connect that first. Stick this side through. That's pretty straightforward. Just goes through a hole somewhere. And just like that. Right through the hole, couple bolts right there. These bolts have a square end to them. A locking, so it locks in there. I gotta dust this thing off. And then they go in from the back, so you just when you put the screw on there, or the nut on there, you don't have to fool around with it. And there's nothing to hold on to. You just tighten it from this side. It's a 13 millimeter. That's nice and tight. This thing's in right where you want it to be. Close the hood. I have a habit of putting things back, so this I have to remove just so that it's secure and I know where the bolts are and everything. You got 4 little spacers, and you just put that in place. Make sure it's lined up here nice, because you'll end up breaking this plastic piece if you don't. This just goes on. You got to come in from an angle and then go around. You got to spin it around. Like I said, a little tricky with one hand. So I don't tighten it immediately when I first line it up. Make sure the spacers are where they belong. This part is expensive, and if you have to replace it, it's ridiculous how much they charge for parts. I'm just gonna tighten these. I'm pretty sure you got to get that right in the middle. But like I said, I'm just gonna I'm gonna test it out. So this piece might throw you off a little bit. If this little plastic piece needs to be pushed through. So this piece comes right out of there, and you have to do that. You go through the end with this. Where is this thing? I can't see anything. Right through like that, and then push it down. That's the only way that's going to go in. It'll really throw you off, and then you put the piece over it after. So I got this back. The handle goes through. It connects to here, and you just basically want to give it a test run and make sure it's going all the way around, and then it'll stop there. That's the end of the line. This thing actually hangs like that. It's kind of odd, but there's a bracket there where it connects to. There's like a small cable, I don't know where it is actually. But it comes all the way back around, and that's about right. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm just gonna tighten those bolts and we're good. So that's nice and hooked up. Everything, well, there is a small bracket. I don't know where that went. I think it's on the other cable and it connects to here. But I'm just going to leave that free. That's what the attachment looks like. That's the finished product, basically. And, well, actually, there's some... I'll show you that in a minute. But this is how this device, how this works. The pedal goes down, and it just raises it up and lowers it. And that's the whole idea behind the spring and the rocker arm and all that other stuff. Otherwise you wouldn't be able to go over anything, you know, you would never lift up. So that's the scoop with that. You can lock it with this, open it, lock it, unlock it. Oh, this is for the height of the, you know, it goes up and down or back and forth, which is kind of cool. So this thing does pretty well. The snowblower attachment's incredible, but I'm not excited at all about the deck. I don't think it's that great of a product, but definitely the snow thrower attachment is intense. And let's not forget the chains. I find it easier just to jack up the lawnmower and then just drape it over and roll it around. I'm just gonna hook this hook to the other side, get this connected over here, and you should be good to go. There are some weights that go on the back and they hook on, and you get these extra weights and they just hook on like that. You get like 4 of them. They go cover right across, and this tire's having a little bit of a leak, so I gotta fix that before I put it on. Oh, the chain just fell off. But that's how that goes, and I hope you were able to benefit doing this, and or you can just send it to the dealer and they'll do it for you. But I think they charge like $100 or $200 for it.